Well, hello to my wonderful subscribers. I wanted to share with you some information that I came across yesterday. It was on Heather Ensworth's channel, an interview with a Hawaiian man named Keone Honole, if I'm pronouncing that right. You'll find it on my post, in my posts on my post page. I also found Barbara Hanclough that she interviewed some time ago, and that was really meaningful to me because, first, the Barbara Hanclough, because I read her book, Earth, way back. It was either in my late 20s or early 30s, and it was so very impactful. And one of the things that I would like to share from that is, at the time, she said, be mindful. She was channeling Pleiadians, and the Pleiadians she was channeling were saying, we are tricksters. And that's true. They are. And the reason that was brought to mind recently was I believe that our guides and angels and our spirit teams, our ancestors, Creator, they want us to succeed in waking up. And whoa, that's hi, sweetheart. That was a downy woodpecker right above my head. I make homemade suet, and so it's coming in to have something to eat. What a treat and a thrill. Thank you. Thank you, lovely. Thank you, beautiful. Kind of lost what I was saying. I personally don't always respond that well to compliments. They make me a little bit uncomfortable. They're very kind and very nice, but I seem to, now that I'm in my 60s, I can look back and say, I always have responded more to challenges than compliments. And that isn't always comfortable, but it does produce results. And as I allow myself to receive healing, as I allow more spirit to come into my life and into my heart and into my decision making and how I treat myself and others, the easier things get, but it is a process. And so seeing her reminded me of that, and that helped me accept some things I didn't know quite what to do with, some information that I had received that I was like, what? So I'm like, oh, okay. So spirit and guides and angels, they will use whatever means is necessary to help us succeed. And if we have filters in our minds that we don't like compliments, or that we prefer challenges because they mean more to us, or we think we get gold stars if we suffer, which is ridiculous. So that's thinking we can work on, but we need to be mindful and aware of it so we know what parameters our teams are actually working with. Because when we ask for help, and I know that we do, especially when we ask out loud, we have to remember the parameters that we have given them as we evolve. Those change, but it's good to keep track of that so we know. And the most profound thing was when she interviewed that Hawaiian man. I knew it was important because my guides and angels will start putting me to sleep. And I'll really want to hear something, and I'll just be going to sleep because they want to get my thinking, analytical mind out of the way. And so I went with it. And when I was able to listen, one of the things that he said just had me bursting into tears. And I realized that I may be mistaken about Lemuria and Atlantis. See, I have a thought in my mind, I don't know why, like he spoke of Mu, and no one ever knows what I'm talking about when I talk about Mu. They'll say, at best, they might say, oh, that's a neighborhood. but I've had this longing lonesomeness for it and no real answers. And I've been on this path for 35, 40 years. So it's just one of those things that you keep in the back of your mind, that when you hear a truth about it, you really pay attention. So what he said that made me burst into tears was, he said, that Lemuria sank over a long period of time. And that tracked with my inner knowing. He said, and then we became Atlantis. And that I was not prepared to hear. That kind of rocked my world. And anytime something rocks my world, I go, okay, I shall hold this. I will see if this resonates with me. I will open my heart to my teams and Creator. And see where this fits, if this fits. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Because sometimes I have been offered great information, but I wasn't ready to receive it. And so I'll come back a year later. I'm sure you've had times like this too, or 2 years later, and it's like, okay, now I'm ready. So that's happened enough times that I know to not throw something away just because I don't have a framework for it yet. That's the great thing about trusting your teams and being in your heart, being curious. Another thing that he said was about how we've looked outside of ourselves for validation, for people to like us, for our ideas to be celebrated. And the more he talked about his own experiences with that, and he touched on even romantic love and relationships and what that's like and what that feels like and what that can become. And a lot of that resonated with me too. And it took me back to discussions my hubby and I had when we were dating and things we talked about. So it was all very timely and meaningful. And when he spoke of Atlantis, he spoke of us being in grief and how it was important that we know we didn't do anything wrong. Our ancestors were heroes who said, yes, we will embody love again. Yes, we will. And then a great amnesia took place. That really resonated with me as a Native American. My parents split when I was very, very young, 2, 3 years old. So I just started bawling because I'm like, I have felt like I was living in grief in a way my whole life. And I'm not having a pity party about this, I'm just sharing it for spiritual and entertainment purposes only. I have been feeling that feeling of loss most of my life. And that was part of the big reason why I chose a spiritual path a long time ago. Where was my people? I lived with a lot of different ones, so it's like, where's my mom? Where's my family? Where's my people? Where's my tribe? So that resonated. And he shared, I really hope that you'll go to my post page and listen to these interviews for yourself, because I sincerely think they may help you remember part of your purpose in being here now, and they may give you relief and hope and comfort and understanding. And that's why I share things on my post page. If I come across something, anything that I think might be helpful, I share it right away. I don't believe in hiding things away. And I just don't have any desire to do that. I'm here to share and encourage. And we're figuring it out as we go, all of us. One of the things he said, when we look to ourselves for the answers that we're seeking, instead of looking outside of ourselves for validation and for answers, that really resonated with me, because I love being on YouTube in our community and being in chat rooms, and I've been right alongside many of you in chat rooms asking questions, thinking, oh, please pick my question, please pick my question, please pick me. And the answers have been helpful, and I love our community. But there's always been this sense that, like, why didn't I know that? Why aren't I listening to myself? Why aren't I believing the things that I get? I'm just starting to remember dreamings, but I'll get knowings and intuitions, and I'll look at them and go, oh yeah, I should have believed that. I should believe in myself. Hi, that was Downy going on her way. Beauty. So we really need to do that. We need to listen to ourselves, to our intuition, to our knowings. We need to set aside time every day just for listening. And I think it's important to talk out loud to your spirit teams and to ask them, to thank them for helping, and to ask them to continue to help. Like, I was walking yesterday and I said out loud, I said, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Sandalphon, which I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Archangel Metatron, with Mary, please help me accept all the healing that has always been offered to me, that is being offered to me now, that in my hubris, I didn't think I deserved. Or I wasn't even aware. Please help me with grace and gratitude. Accept that now. And then as I walk around in the world and resonate, that will affect others in a good way. And my thanks and gratitude will be a living gift as I share with others. I think that's important to do and to say. When we look to ourselves for our answers, we can then say, you know, that thing about the trauma that we've all been carrying. You know, there's different traumas. Sure, we're not here to have a pity party, but we've all been in one. We're in trauma now. When we look to ourselves instead of outside of ourselves, then we can say, I complete the trauma of loss now. That's what that wonderful Hawaiian man shared. Because I have access to the divine love flowing through me, so that we don't stay stuck in it. Some traumas are easy to identify. And I am speaking from like ancestral. 247, 48 years ago, I believe that peoples here were going to ascend and were asked, would you please help your brother? And then people came, and here we are. I remember a quote I read not long ago, and at the time I didn't quite understand it, but I do now. It said some people are so poor, all they have is money. They don't have connection. They don't have compassion or courage or connectedness or curiosity compassion. That's very poor indeed. And then I remembered that Spirit will use whatever means is necessary to get us to love ourselves and love each other as much as we love ourselves. Of course, it's easier to do this with people who resonate the same as us, where there's common ground of some kind. And that's a good place to start. Our families, our mates, our children, our grandchildren, our friends, our dear ones, our community, our larger community, our region, our states, our country, our planet. So I wanted to share that with you. I'm still letting this information kind of what's coming, my rememberings and what I heard yesterday as I'm shared on my post. I'm letting that kind of settle. I'm resting. I've been very weepy and very hungry and extra thirsty. So that's where my attention has been. And I wanted to share that with you in case it also helps you remember some things. And I appreciate you stopping by and listening to me visit about this. And I'm wishing you a beautiful and wonderful rest of your day, and stand in your light, your beautiful light. Stand in your light. Okay, bye for now.